Hello, everyone, and welcome to Padawan Unlimited, a Star Wars Unlimited trading card game podcast and YouTube channel. Before we begin, please remember to like, subscribe. If this is your first time with the channel, I would really appreciate the support. Today, I'm going to answer the question, is it worth going to a sector qualifier, as well as a variety of other questions I have received to help you make your choices, to make your choice if you so choose to go to one of these like larger scale FFG competitive events. There's a lot going on here, and I mentioned in a previous video, let me make the mistake so that so you can learn from it and you can make the choice that you need to make. I'm going to try to approach this from a variety of lenses, so like the collector side, the competitive side, the casual side. So it's not just like a flat answer like yes or no if you should go, because everyone's a little bit different. Everyone has a little different like way of life, right? So what might be important to some people might not be important to others. And so I kind of want to hit that from all sides. Shout out to two people. Link Wizard for all the great questions you posted last week for me. A lot of people had asked kind of the same things, but in person. So I wanted to be a little bit more thoughtful with this. One of the reasons I waited a week was because before I put this video out after Milan was that I wanted to see if there's anything going to change for the Denver and Liverpool sector qualifiers, which there seems to have been, and I'm going to talk about that soon. Also, I'm going to give a shout out to, I think his name is Space Bear Unlimited. He just dropped a video this morning about organized play, specifically regarding the Denver sectional qualifiers and sector qualifiers, and it was very insightful. It's an hour long. I gave it a watch. I encourage you to as well. There was a lot of good information, and it's really good to see and hear it from like an FFG employee directly, versus like me, who's just like a talking head. But I'm going to give you my opinion based on not only my experience, but as well as this update that I had received and me just monitoring what the sector qualifiers were like this past weekend. Okay, so as a general question, just a general answer to the question, is it worth going to a sector qualifier? If you asked me this question last week, I would have said no. It's just not worth it. Unless you were super confident you're going to be like a top 8 player, get to day 2 and a top 8 player, so that you could potentially like sell your cards to make money back, or just to get that ticket like paid for you to go to the Galactic Championships. If that was the case, like if that was it, then it wasn't worth it for generally every other person. And I say that because the ticket pricing for Sidewall, the prize wall, was really expensive, right? And you had to do really, really well. It was super competitive. It wasn't like a flat environment, especially for even like the non-competitive stuff like drafting. Compared to like the Sector Cup, for example. And also they just didn't have a lot of the products, right? They were missing the Obi-Wan Kenobi cards. They were missing prize mats, soft crates, like all types of stuff. There was really not much fanfare there. If there was FFG staff, at least in Milan, they didn't really make themselves known. So even if we did have comments, complaints, questions, concerns, like we didn't really talk to FFG staff proper. We talked to like the organized play like staff. So it just seemed like a little disorganized, right? And a little too expensive. Like not even just really expensive. I mean, a mat was 2,000 tickets. And if you think about like 100 tickets being around $5 roughly, because a pack was equal to 100 tickets, so $5 USD. It was really, really expensive. Since Milan, the Denver and Liverpool sector qualifiers have seen stages of growth that I think are positive for how organized plays can be run in the future. Some things that I really want to talk about is that they've already, at least for Denver, they started to change the ticket structure in order to like kind of lower the cost for some of the prize wall stuff. So for example, on day 2, Denver players got to buy a mat for 1,000 prize wall tickets instead of 2,000, which is a huge change in terms of the cost, right? It's a lot more achievable. Also, if you made it to day 2 in the main event, they gave you 1,000 prize tickets instead of 100, which was in Milan. So that is like a 10 times change since the Milan sector qualifier. These are tangible adaptations to the organized play event that is positive for the community as well as these large scale events, right? If you asked me last week and you asked me the questions, were you properly compensated for making it far in the tournament? No, I would have said no. I mean, maybe if you made it to day 2 and you were like the only person to get the showcase, right? That was great. But and if you made a top 8 to get some of that Kylo Ren card, potentially sell it, that's great too, and also get your ticket paid for. But only 100 extra prize wall tickets on day just to make it to day 2 is not worth it, and that's like 60 people that can't do anything. On prizing events, there's they were all the same price, anywhere between $15 to $50, depending on the type of event, which is very expensive. And you didn't always, unless you were winning, you weren't getting prize wall tickets. And based on some new information that I've received, that they're probably going to try to flatten the ticket structure so that, especially for the things like draft or Twin Suns, maybe, where instead of it's like tickets per win, it's more tickets just to play kind of thing, which would be really, really great. Some other changes for the Denver Sector Qualifier that did not occur in Milan was that they had an FFG bounty event where if you played against an FFG employee, you can get prizes from them, and if you win, which is really really cool to think about. They did not have that in Milan, not that I'm aware of at least, so that was pretty cool. So the answer to the question, is it worth going to a Sector Qualifier? The answer is maybe. I know that's kind of a cop-out, but really it depends on your life situation. It depends on what goals you're trying to achieve, and it depends on like how much money you're willing to spend, right? The economics kind of changed the thoughts process for a lot of people, and then also just like the emotional side. So again, if you're a competitor, it might actually be worth just going to your local planetary qualifier, supporting your local store, trying to top that. Hopefully, if you don't get number 1, the person who's number 1 has won before or has some type of pass down for day 2, like for the day 2 buy for the Galactic Championships. That would be great. That'd be a whole lot cheaper than going to, flying all the way to another city in a different state or different country and, potentially getting that championship or top 8. And then also, if you're a collector, right, if you want these pieces, again, it kind of comes down to economics. Like, is it worth just buying the mat? Maybe if you're already spending $300 to $600 on a flight, and then a couple $100 in a hotel, and then gas or whatever you might need to spend money on, right? Would that money be better spent just buying it on the secondary market? I mean, so we see that Star Wars Unlimited like cards are not really that expensive, right? Not like Magic the Gathering, like the serialized cards, for example, are not going for like thousands of dollars. The judge cards are not going for thousands of dollars. They're going for a couple hundred to pop, maybe, right? And those are like really, really rare versus like these mats where you could potentially get them off, off the secondary market, or like the pins, for example. If you're a casual player and you just want to you want to dip your feet into the water of competitive play, I don't know if it's worth going to Sector Qualifier as well, because unless it's local, because why not just go to your local store showdown? Why not just go to your local planetary qualifier to get your feet wet in terms of competitive play? And again, just like the competitors, just like the collectors, is it economically feasible for you, right? If you really want to go to Sector Qualifier, like, again, what are your goals? If you're trying to meet content creators, for example, FFG staff, and you get a signature, like you're trying to make an experience out of it, and this is more of an emotional tie, then go for it. I mean, that's the reason I went, not necessarily economically balanced for me, but I got to meet some amazing new people. I got to meet some content creators. I got to meet Jonah for the first time, who's the head judge of like all head judges, which is, again, really cool. And I can't really put a price on that. I know I'm going to go to the Richmond Sector Qualifier. I'm going to go to Minneapolis for the regional, and then I'm going to go to the Galactic Championships, because that's something that I want to do. If you go there too, I hope I see you there. Please stop by. I hope this video was helpful. If there's any comments, questions, concerns, please feel free to add it into the comments. I am really excited whenever I see comments. I always answer them. So I'm excited to see that. With that, that's the end of the video. And until next time, may the Force be with you.